Kia ora. Welcome to prayer on Monday, 22 June. As a young person growing up in Auckland, the Dominican friars and sisters greatly influenced my experience and my understanding of faith. They taught me to search for the truth. One of the ways that they did this was they taught me to have the Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other when I was praying. Shortly we'll hear the Gospel proclaimed by Vivian, a Year 13 student from St. Dominic's College. My invitation as you listen to the Gospel is to search for the truth, asking yourself whether you make judgments when you hear the news.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Do not judge, so that you may not be judged. For with the judgment you make, you will be judged, and the measure you give will be the measure you get. Why do you see the speck in your neighbor's eye, but do not notice the log in your own eye? Or how can you say to your neighbor, "Let me take the speck out of your eye," while the log is in your own eye? You hypocrite! First, take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your neighbor's eye. This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In today's Gospel, we continue to meditate on the Sermon on the Mount. The reading gives us an idea of how church teaching took place in those early communities. Matthew's teaching on how to live, abiding by the commandments, remains relevant today. Let's unpack the reading. Those opening words, do not judge. What a difficult command. How many times do we judge without even realizing it? Our family, our friends, scrolling social media, listening to the news, or maybe just walking down the street. Do we show mercy and compassion, or do we judge? Last week, did we judge when we heard the news that two women recently arrived from the UK had driven from Auckland to Wellington to be with a parent who was dying? Ask yourself, if you were in their situation, how much would you want to get to that parent? Didn't we hear during lockdown cries for compassion when other families were in just this situation? It's so easy to criticize, so easy to judge. Not so easy to take a good look in the mirror at our own actions. Do we judge others by one standard and then hope that others will judge us and be much more compassionate and gentle with us? We're hearing a lot about the Black Lives Movement in the news right now. As Christians, we cannot turn a blind eye to racism or to any other groups being treated unjustly. At the same time, we have to recognize that violence is not the answer. So much can be lost. So often we focus on the other, the way the other must change. God is inviting us to focus on our own weaknesses and the changes that we need to make. I had one of those look in the mirror moments last week when I was listening to an interview on TV. Often when I meet somebody new, one of the first questions I ask is where they're from. I'm always interested to know a little bit about their background, and I'm always excited if it turns out that it's somewhere that I've been or somewhere that I want to go. It was a real wake-up call for me when I found out that for many, this would be racist or it would be seen as being offensive. It's something that I need to reflect on, and it's possibly something that will cause me to change my own behaviour. My invitation to you today is to observe the interactions you have with others. This evening, as part of your prayer, share with God the highlights of your day, the wonderful things that have happened, but also acknowledge the areas where you might have missed the mark, especially any times when you might have been just a little bit too quick to judge. Ask God to give you the strength and the courage to focus on any weaknesses, to take the speck out of your eye in order to see more clearly. God bless.